So, hey guys. So, before we start, here's just a quick check. Am I audible to you all? Just let me know in the chat section and then we can move ahead with our awesome webinar. So, just let us know in the chat section. Am I audible? Okay, great. So, I'm getting yes. Great. So, hey guys, hey everyone, this is Harshita from Designhill, your host for today, and I hope you and your family are keeping well and safe. I would like to welcome you all in this session where we are discussing how to build a sales funnel to convert leads into customers. Today's event is brought to you by Designhill, world's leading creative marketplace that caters to the creative need of businesses and individuals alike who can source high quality designs from professional designers and buy unique products created by independent artists. So, moving ahead, let me introduce our guest for today, and we have with us Tim Hughes. So, Tim is the CEO of Digital Leadership Associates and is the world's number one social selling influencer. He is a best selling author and he likes to listen vinyl. So, Tim, thank you so much for joining us today. And please go ahead, say hi to our audience, and let us know more about Digital Leadership Associates. Tim, actually, you are on mute. Can you please just unmute yourself?
That should
Yeah.
be better. I'm unmuted now, aren't I?
No, you're perfect now. You're audible.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Yes, it's Tim Hughes here. I'm calling in from West London, and I'm really excited to talk to you today. I've got loads of stuff to get through, and I'm really looking forward to sharing some of my insight with you.
Great. So before we start the session, here's a quick announcement, guys. You can take the screenshot of this event and tweet it about, and you can tag Designhill and Tim on Twitter and use hashtag DesignhillWebinar. You may find our Twitter handles in the chat section, and one lucky winner will have a chance to win a print shop gift card worth $50. And along with that, as a gesture of appreciation that you joined us for this event, we have special offers for you all. So keep an eye in the chat section to get your offers. So moving ahead, let's quickly look at what Designhill is all about.
Looking to get your boss to remember your name? Head to the world's number one creative marketplace, Designhill.
When my company promoted me to head up our latest real estate development project, I was excited, then anxious, then petrified. How was I going to hire the team, get the designs completed, and design beautiful presentation materials on our lean budget while impressing my bosses, some of whom are still learning my name?
Good job, Mitch.
My name's Lawrence. That's why I went to Designhill and got the design help I needed that fit within my company's brand guidelines. The process was simple. Designhill's
I guess there was some technical glitch or something. So, all right, that was all about Design Hill, and now we are all set to move ahead with the session. We'll take up the questions. So, during the session, if you have any questions, just put in the questions tab, and Tim will take up from there only. And now, Tim, all over to you.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everybody. Yes, today I'm going to be talking about how to build a sales funnel to convert leads into customers. There's quite a bit to get through. I should get a pen and paper if you haven't got one, because you need to take some notes. Obviously I haven't learned to drive yet. So this is me. I'm the CEO of DLA Ignite. You can get details of me. I've also put details of myself in the chat. Please send a connection request to me on LinkedIn. Really appreciate if you could say that you saw the presentation here at Designhill. Then I can make sure that I can filter you out from some of the spam I get. Also, there's my book. It's on Amazon worldwide. Well, it's my first book, Social Selling Techniques to Influence Buyers and Change Makers. Please check that out. I think I'm at the 98th review. So those are reviews for you to check out on there as well. So we actually see in our daily lives a lot of companies like this. Quite often we say to the people, so what have you done? You know, COVID-19's hit, we're in the middle of a pandemic. And they may have furloughed some staff, they may have let some people off, they may have cut down some of their product lines, but actually they're still doing exactly what they did before COVID. And we all know that our lives have changed. And one of the things about COVID that's very different from all of the other recessions and that I've lived through is that actually everybody in the world is being impacted the same. I run a global organization, and I can be on calls with India, with the US, with Germany, with Peru, and everybody says the same thing. We're in lockdown, or, you know, and we've all transferred our lives online. And we're seeing this very much so all of the time, where people are they're not able to go and actually visit people to have meetings. They're actually having to do it virtually, and they're having to get meetings virtually as well. So we're seeing this a lot with organizations where they haven't actually changed the way that they're actually getting the meetings. So let's actually get some background. So this is some research that comes out from We Are Social and Hootsuite. The person who puts this together is Simon Kemp. I've actually put the link for this in the chat. It's right at the top. And this is October, so this is only a couple of weeks old. And the interesting thing here is, well, there's 7.8 billion people in the world, and 4.66 billion of the people are actually on the internet. That's 60% of the world's population. And of that, of those people on the internet, 4.14. So we actually tipped over the 4 billion mark. 53% of the world's population are now active on social media. So there are more people on social media than not on social media. And there was an interesting interview with Simon Kemp that he did with Hootsuite, where he's analyzed the figures, and now 2/3 of the world's business population is actually on social media. So the days of saying my clients aren't on social media just isn't the case anymore. We're also in a situation where we're now used to using being online. One of the things that we found during lockdown, and we're currently in our second lockdown here in the UK, is that we're buying just about everything online because we can't go out, and everybody is used to doing this. My mother is 82, and she runs wine groups where people get together and they drink wine, and she's actually doing this now over Zoom. And it doesn't matter who it is, we're used to doing things online, we're used to being online, and we're used to buying things online. And now most people, certainly in the world of B2B, if you're a buyer and you're going to buy something, you will go online and you will research it first. And we all avoid salespeople because we don't like them. And most people now are 60% of the way through the buying process before they actually contact a salesperson. I actually have some research from SAP that says that's 80%. But the fact of the matter is, as sellers, what we need to do is actually be inserting ourselves towards the bottom of that curve, towards the left-hand side, to say that we are, to make sure that people see that we're visible. And because our buyers are online, we have to be visible online. And I'm going to talk about that and how you can be visible and how you can use that as a way to get leads and meetings. But it actually gets worse than that. What we find is that certainly in B2B, the number of buyers, or the buyer team, is actually increased. 5 years ago, to get a decision, there'd be about 4 to 7 people. Now it's probably 10 or even more than that. So what we're seeing is that certainly with our clients, what we're seeing is that decisions are quite often actually going to the CEO to be signed off. So you're having to actually form relationships very, very quickly with multiple people across the organization. not just people who may be in middle management, but so one of our clients is a human resources supplier. They have 18-month sales cycles, and they will build relationships with the people within human resources, the HR team. They'll also build relationships with finance because they need to sign off a business case. But they also now, because of COVID, are having to build relationships because of CEO, because a lot of the spend that we're asking for is seen as discretionary. And what's happening is that the decisions are going to CEOs and going, not going to buy this. And so what we need is a mechanism that allows us to build relationships really, really quickly. And you all know that COVID's hit us, and this has changed the world. One of the things that's changed is that in the past, what we've been able to do is use conferences and exhibitions as a way of actually meeting with clients. It's unlikely, certainly within 2020, that there's going to be any conferences and exhibitions. And even though there was the announcement yesterday from Pfizer that there's a vaccine, I doubt that that's actually going to be able to be rolled out, certainly within 2021. So I think we need to it makes good business sense to be planning that 2021 will have no conferences and exhibitions. So what are we going to do? How are we going to actually meet the clients and actually build relationships with them? Well, first and foremost, let's imagine something. So you've got to get to the airport. You're late, and you need to get a flight, pre-COVID, of course. And how are you going to get there? Well, you're lucky because you've been given the choice of two cars. Car number 1 on the left and car number 2 on the right. Now, most of you probably think, well, I'll choose car number 1 because that's the way that I'm going to get to the airport quickest. The thing is that car number 1 is it's basically a mock-up of a new car that's coming out. It doesn't have an engine. And the thing is that we all jump to conclusions. And what happens is that our buyers are out there jumping to conclusions about who we are. And they do that through our passive social presence. So we have a LinkedIn profile. It's up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And our active social behaviors, which are the behaviors that we're taking place every single day with on social media. And that has an impact. So let me show you a couple of examples. So what we have here on the left, unfortunately, there was a build on this. And what we have on the left is someone that sent a connection request. You can't actually tell anything from that connection request. And you can't actually tell anything from that particular profile. Whereas the profile that we have on the right is from Catherine Cole, who is one of our clients. And what you have is a complete profile of her, of who she is, her belief systems, the story of her life, her accomplishments. And if you think about the way that you have a meeting with a client, usually what happens is that the first 5 minutes you talk about, so how are you? How's things in London, or how's things in India? And you have a conversation. What you do is you build rapport. You find areas where there is a cross between you and the person that you're talking to, because that builds trust. And what we're able to do is, rather than have a LinkedIn profile, which is a CV, which actually is there to get us a job, what we're actually doing is using our LinkedIn profiles as a mechanism to enable us to actually jump through that process of building the relationship with the client and actually forming a bond even before the person has met you. So while you're asleep, people could be looking at your LinkedIn profile and forming a bond and saying, that looks like a really interesting person. I'd actually like to meet that person. So what we are in the situation is where we have classic salespeople have to go out, find people, try and get them to like you. And then you try and build a relationship with you, and you, in effect, spend your time running around after them saying, please like me, please like me, please like me. And we know that most people don't like salespeople. Whereas here, what we have is a situation where you will automatically look at the person, you as a salesperson. They see that you are a person that actually provides the expertise that you need, or they need, and they will actually approach you directly, or they see you as the right person that can actually help them. So here's another example. This is Adrian Spink. Adrian is the CEO of Telstra Purple, clients of ours. And as you see, that he has a very different profile to a lot of people's LinkedIn profiles. He has a banner at the top. He has a very nice picture. So if you could meet him in a room, you would see him across the room and go, there's Adrian over there. I'm going to have a chat with him. And what we've done is that we, if you think of your LinkedIn profile as a fold, your summary title and your about section, your summary, is in effect your why. If you've ever seen the video by Simon Sinek, there's one on a couple of minutes on YouTube, certainly worth googling, where he talks about your limbic brain. Your limbic brain is your old brain. But what that does is it doesn't understand language. It understands gut reaction. It understands, you may be in a situation where you go, I don't really think that I like that person. I don't know what it is, but I do like that person. And what this does is that this is about you appealing to your buyer's limbic brain, for you to get over your belief system and about who you are. Again, it's not about your company. It's not about your products. That pushes people away. People aren't interested in your company. They're not interested in your products. What you do if you want to sell more is to appeal to people's limbic brain and get people to actually come closer to you. So this is an example of what you see currently on LinkedIn. So there are currently 20,183,711 business development managers, 8,552,815 sales directors. And as you see, that actually doesn't differentiate you. And the number one thing that I was told when I first moved into sales was you need to be different from everybody else. By putting this on your LinkedIn profile, certainly in your summary title, it doesn't differentiate you. Now, why does that matter? There's something called gestalt thinking, which is a human condition, which means that we lump things that we see as similar together. So all the sales directors are all lumped together, as you see on the left-hand side. Whereas if you actually stand out and you're different, what happens is that the brain basically then creates two different lumps. If you decide to go with the masses, then you have a 1 in 16 chance of winning. If you decide to make yourself stand out, then you have a 1 in 2 chance of winning. That gives you some idea about how you can change the odds just by making yourself stand out and doing some things which are slightly different. Let's go back to Adrian. Adrian has, he's written the whole of his job history out. It's right down to his first job. And I have people coming to me, and actually I have my first job on my LinkedIn profile. And I have people coming to me saying, yeah, do you know, I did washing up at a restaurant, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it as well. I learned an awful lot. I also learned to cook some basic food as well, which is a great skill to have. Now, if there's any marketing people watching, Google loves LinkedIn because LinkedIn is full of content. So Google also sees a LinkedIn profile as one big string text. And so what you're able to do is take all of the different keywords that you may actually be supporting. And what you can do is you can get your team to actually hide them. It doesn't matter where they are, because it sees it as a string of text. Hide it in their LinkedIn profile, and immediately you're getting some SEO and some Google juice for that. And so your ability to be found then is increases. All the way through your LinkedIn profile, fill out your education. There may be people that have also been to Trinity College of Music. get some recommendations, get your clients to actually recommend you. I'm not saying that you're going to win some business off the fact that you're going to have recommendations, but if they're looking at two different people, and you're actually got a recommendation solving the business problem that they have, you're more likely to be chosen. The other thing is that the fact that your clients are on social and actually online, what they're going to be doing is that they're going to be looking at you and your competition. And the more that you can get the people to look at you, the less they're looking at your competition. It just makes sense. Now, that gets you to the starting line. That's in 2021 sales, that's table stakes. That's what you need to be doing. What I'm now going to go through is about how you can actually use social as a way of generating pipeline. So we're going to talk about marketing. We're going to talk about networking, selling. So traditional marketing is based on waste. What you do is you go out to the market and you try and talk to and sell to as many people as you can. So it's based on hope that somebody will actually fan that, and you throw stuff at the wall and you hope it will stick. And gradually what you do is you in effect bully or cajole people to actually buy something. Whereas what we're actually doing is, there's a build on it, it doesn't show up. So actually what we've done is that we've actually turned that around. And what we're actually doing is that we're building each of your salespeople and each of your people within your organization will actually start as a micro influencer. And what they do is that they're influencing the people that they need to, their accounts, their clients, their prospects, anybody within that grouping. Also, what you'll find is that people in your network will be willing to take on your beliefs and your content and share that for you. So what you're doing is that you're not necessarily selling to your network, but you're selling through your network. And I'll talk about that in a moment. Oh, going backwards. So let's talk about network marketing and selling. So let's look at your network. The important thing is that you need to have a network. This is not about contacts. Contacts and network are very different. In B2B sales, the important thing, the big difference between business to business and business consumer sales is in B2B sales, the buyer remembers your name. And what you need to be doing on the basis that there are now 722 million people on LinkedIn is that you need to stand out and you need to be rememberable. So here's an example. This is one of my colleagues, Eric. Eric works for me. On the left-hand side is NCR Corporation. He actually has no contacts in NCR Corporation. So the likelihood of him actually influencing that account is small to zero. Whereas Wood Group on the right-hand side, he's actually now connected to, I think, about 900 people. So the ability for him to influence that account is far greater. The point being is that if you are selling into certain accounts, target accounts, certain customers, you need to be connected to people and you need to be connected to more than one person for you to actually influence those people. Now, to give you an example, I asked him the question, how long did it take you to connect to 455 people, in this case, when these slides were built? And he said it took him 3 days. This is not a long time to actually spend connecting to people if you want to get influence. So let's look at marketing. Here are two people that have posted the same thing. And it gives you an understanding about why network is important. On the left-hand side, we have Sydney. She actually only has 86 connections. She actually has got no engagement at all. Whereas Leanne has about 9,000 or 9,275 connections. And she's got 168 likes and 89 comments. Now, while likes and comments are interesting, they're actually a great indicator on the importance of your engagement, and I'll talk about this in a moment. What we see here is that the average person on LinkedIn is connected to 903 people. So if you multiply 168 likes by 903, that gives you some idea of the reach that that content has got. Think of it as an email list. 168 times 903 could be an email list that in the old days that you would have sent out an email to. But that gives you some idea of the reach that that piece of content has got. Now, the way that LinkedIn works is that when you're scrolling through your timeline, what you'll get is that you get content from your connections. But what LinkedIn wants you to do is actually connect to people you're not connected to, because it's about networking. So if you see on this slide, this is all content that's actually been presented or presented to me based on people that I'm not connected to. So what you're able to do is get your insights and your thoughts in front of people that you're not connected to. So what you're able to do is that you want to show insight and educating content, and I'm going to talk about type of content in a moment. And what will happen is that people engage with it, and then that will be presented to that network. So your influence and your ability to share and get your ideas across to more and more people. So what we've done is that we've created, based on our own research, this pyramid of content. If you see that line, below the line is what quite often people will actually create, which is corporate content, which is usually says, buy my product because it's great. Where above it is actually what we're doing is that we're actually authoring content, and it actually appeals to our network. So let me give you an example. This is Eric. Eric works for me, and he's doing what he used to do before he joined us, which is he's sharing corporate content. He used to work in the oil and gas pipeline industry, and I don't know about you, but I'm not interested, and I don't care. And a lot of you will be going, well, I'm not interested in that either. And the 2 likes he got was actually from the person who wrote the content in marketing and the person, his sales leader. Nobody else was interested. And that sits within the corporate campaign co-branding. Here, what Eric has done is he's decided, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take someone else's content and share that out. The thing is that Matt Pybus audiences is interested in Matt Pybus's content. With Eric's audience is interested in Eric's content, not Matt's. So again, he's got a little bit more engagement, but not that much. Whereas actually, if he's actually created his own, which he's done here, he's got actually 9,463 views. What he's done is that he's actually authored something himself. This post was actually about cryptocurrency and the fact that we seem to get loads of spam about cryptocurrency, and he was asking people, do you agree that it's annoying? And that created a lot of interest and discussion. Whereas if we take this post here, this is one that Eric created of him on the beach. It was his son's birthday, son's 16th birthday, and he was talking about the impact of COVID you know, the way we're living, and the fact that this is impacting on young people, on mental health, and it's humanized content. Now, we've all seen this sort of content, and we've all seen, and we may have posted it ourselves, and we see it probably every day. The difference is that we, as in Eric and I, we have a methodology to monetize this content. What he's actually done off the back of this piece of content, which only took him 10 minutes to create, was he was able to create 124 leads, 28 new outbound connections, 13 new inbound connections, and he got 6 C-level meetings off the back of it. And at this point, when we created this slide, we got he'd had 1 proposal, and he had 20,000 people coming and looking at his profile, which is in effect checking him out and saying, you know, 97% of the people in the world are not buying for you from right now, but they may go, Eric's a really good guy. next time when I want to actually buy some social selling, what I'm going to do is I'll check Eric out and I'll give him a call. So he's making sure that he's seeding that. But from this piece of content, humanized content, he's got 6 C-level meetings. So that gives you some idea about the things that you can do to actually create some pipeline. So something very quick that you can do, that you can take away from here, is that you can go back into your LinkedIn profile and find people that you've been connected to for 6 months, 12 months. And they're probably people that you've never spoken to. And what you do is you send them a very nice connection request. You don't sell, because you'll find that people don't like that. You just go back to here in case, Angela, we've been connected to for 11 months. Do you know, I've set myself a rule. I always talk to the people that I connected to in the network. I think it's really important. Why don't we get on a call? And you'll find that at least 50% of the people will say, yeah. And the way that you run that call is not to get on there and start pitching to them. The way you run that call is you get on the call and you say, Angela, I've been connected to you for 11 months, but you know, I don't know what you do. What do you do? And get to her to tell you what she does. And then when she's told you what she does, guess what? She'll say, and what do you do, Tim? And then you have an opportunity to talk to her. Now, how you run that meeting is up to you. I wouldn't necessarily pitch, but you are getting a free opportunity to do that if you want to. So that's what I wanted to cover in terms of the presentation. Shall we go to questions?
Yeah, we got one question from live one, and we have few questions from our already registrants.
Is there an e-certificate for this webinar?
Shall I read it out,
no.
the question?
Yes.
Okay. So the question is, what is the best platform to have a sales funnel?
I think you need to, so in terms of social media, you need to go where your clients are. From a sales funnel perspective, you probably need to have a CRM, a customer relationship management system. We use Nimble, but there are plenty of other CRM systems out there. Obviously, you've heard of Salesforce and people like that. But that's, for me, that's the way that I'm able to see the sales funnel in effect in a diagrammatic form.
Okay, great. So I hope your question got answered. So moving ahead, our next question is, what mistakes have you seen people making while creating a sales funnel?
I think that the mistake that I see is that there's too much time, not enough time spent qualifying. And for me, when I've generated a sales funnel, the first and foremost thing that you need to do is make sure that you understand who your ideal customer is. So that's about working out, you may have sold the product before, so who have we sold it to before? But if you're a new startup, so who is it that we would like to sell to? And then making sure that you understand and actually can qualify the opportunities that come to you. Because the thing is, you need to understand is not everybody's going to buy. Some people will say, that's kind of interesting. Some people will say, that's kind of interesting, give me a call in 3 months. And some people say, well, that's amazing, and I'll buy it now. You need to understand, so don't be too hard on yourself, but you need to make sure that you're qualifying. And qualifying is about asking the right questions. And what I would do, what I've always done, is before I actually have a meeting or call, is I'll actually say, okay, so what questions do I need to ask? Because you do need to make sure that you're asking questions on the flow and on the fly. But what you want to make sure is that, because we can get nervous in meetings, what we want to do is make sure that we've got the questions there in front of us and that we can refer to them.
Okay. I hope that solves all your questions regarding the mistakes we do. So before moving ahead, I hope you guys are liking the session, enjoying the session. But before we move forward, I would like to give a quick shout out to Design Hill, World's Creative Leading Marketplace, for organizing this event. Let's take a quick short break and keep this interesting conversation going on with Tim.
Clarematics is a full-service video agency based around video production. We created a brand that fit our identity at the time, but as we've evolved as a company, we found that that original brand didn't quite fit our aspirations anymore. Finding a partner to rebrand your entire company takes a lot of time and effort. Finding Designhill was an incredible lifeline. Designhill offers a money-back guarantee. If we don't like any of the designs, we get all of our money back. The stuff that we ended up with were well beyond what we had been seeing on other creative services platforms. After creating a simple design brief by answering some questions created by Designhill, we posted, and within a few days, we had over 250 entries. Designhill's platform made it easy to communicate with all the potential designers. Eventually, we picked a winner. In addition to a logo, our designer also created a letterhead, business cards, and banners for all of our social media platforms. With Designhill's help, we now have a brand that meets our aspirations. We're ready for the future, and everything easy to communicate with all the potential designers. Eventually, we picked a winner. In addition to a logo, our designer also created a letterhead, business cards, and banners for all of our social media platforms. With Designhill's help, we now have a brand that meets our aspirations. We're ready for the future and everything that it's here to bring.
All right, guys, so we are back again and let's continue with the session. And talking about the session, let's take a question from our live attendee, and it's from Kevin. Do you have a roadmap or brief of who this may have worked for, or is it still working for a business and sales terms? Are they seeing the tangible benefits of being online and building a community? You can just check the section, the questions tab in the question section just at the right of your screen. The first question. Tim, please unmute yourself.
Shall I? You want me to speak the answer? Surely.
Yeah, I'll just question the second question from Kevin.
So Kevin's
Yeah.
question. So Kevin, yeah. So first and foremost, we are our own reference site. So we're a 4-year-old company, and we've never advertised. We've never made a cold call. We've never sent. We don't have an email list. We don't do any of those things because we don't need to. Because what we do is that we connect to people on, and we build relationships and conversations on social. Our clients are people like Telstra, Ring Central, Allen and Overy, Cushman and Wakefield, BMW, a whole bunch of organizations. BMW, while it's a business consumer organization, it's a considered purchase, so it's kind of B2B, but it's B2C. So to give you an example, last November, so a year ago, so it's pre-COVID, they got 28 pieces of inbound through LinkedIn, and they were able to convert 14 of those. So the average price of a BMW is what, $50,000. So they got $700,000 additional revenue for zero marketing spend. And it was interesting because it was the same month that Jaguar Land Rover, their competitors, basically said that they weren't selling anything, and they made excuses of general election in the UK, Brexit, etc., etc. And BMW had exactly the same market conditions, but were selling. So what we're seeing is that there's a real change taking place in the market, where there's winners and losers in terms of analog and digital. And COVID-19 has really accelerated that. So, you know, as soon as the lockdown came in March, Workday came to us and said, we need to sign up with you, and we'd been talking to them for months. There's always another priority, and they just said, we need to do this now. And we're getting a lot of people right now signing up because they want to be digital for 2021 and get ready for that. So useful question. What was the? Absolutely, and it's interesting. Since the pandemic, our clients have actually seen their prospecting ability go up, not down, because the figures, you can't dispute the figures that people have migrated onto online, and that's where our clients are, and that's where we have to be as sellers and marketeers. Hi, Mr. Tim. So next question. Hi, Mr. Tim. There are many people who are cold when it comes to taking the last action in sales funnels. How do you convert them? My recommendation always with sales funnels is to build relationships. We do a service for one of our clients where we actually de-risk their pipeline, and there was a deal that came up, which was at a pizza company, and they said, "Oh, this deal's going to happen," and I said, "No, it won't," and it didn't. And I said it wouldn't because the client, the salesperson, wasn't connected and didn't have relationships with people with that client. What we need to be doing as salespeople is building relationships, multiple relationships, because we can build it at scale across the whole of our targets and our clients. So when clients go into meetings to make decisions and there's a vote and they put their hand up and say, okay, who are we going to buy? We need to make sure that we have got those relationships. Now, if we're doing it by phone, it takes time. We have to annoy people by ringing them up and interrupt them. Whereas if we're doing it social, we're doing it at their time. We're not interrupting them, and we're actually able to build out more relationships at scale. And my view is always, you need to be doing a discovery. You need to be asking questions. You need to be asking questions that your competition won't have thought of. You need to be sharing insight and being educational in the way that you're sharing content. Not content that applies to everybody, but content. Most people write content to cover everything, because it covers the top of funnel. Once you're actually getting to close, you can actually be creating content for that particular client or that particular person. And so what you're doing is that you build a relationship. So they get to know you, they get to like you, they get to love you. And those are the people that are going to buy from, and they'll buy from you. And if you're building that relationship, you'll find that you'll close more. Tim, for a new startup business, do you have any recommendations on an initial post? Tim Keeley basically says, hi, Tim, for a new startup business, do you have any recommendations on initial post? I'm a CEO of a startup. We're 4 years in. If you go to my LinkedIn profile and go back 4 years, you'll probably see what my initial post was, which was something like, I'm starting a new business, wish me luck. People love a bit of vulnerability and something really humanized. Going up to a door with a key to the new office or something like that. Again, it comes from in here. If you're excited as I am in starting a business, then and then educate and provide insight. I get ideas from losing deals. I get ideas from winning deals. I get ideas from coming on here and reading these questions out. There's inspiration all around us, and running a startup is a wonderful thing. So I do wish you best of luck, T. And if you ever want to have a chat sometime about starting a business, connect with me. Belinda West, when launching a new business, what is the most effective way to announce and engage online social media? I don't know if you're just about to do it. The first thing, there's a famous saying that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is to plant one now. My advice always is to get connecting with people. So as soon as you can. We started our business in September. My business partner and I knew that we were going to start the business back in March, and we just connected to everybody that we wanted to connect with, and we were building those connections in stealth mode even before we started the startup. And then we just announced it. And you'll find is that the people that know you and love you will go, good on you, that's really brilliant, and they'll share that through their network. A good friend of mine's just launched a book today. I mean, it's taken him ages to write the book, but we're all pleased about it. And he sent me a copy, and I'm really happy and energized, and I'm helping promote it. So you'll find that your network should step up and help you. And again, just share insights. Don't stand up and say, hey, buy my product because it's great. Share insight. That what people are looking for is tell me something I don't know. Mark Ritchie, do you advise to convert few leads or could be loyal customers than to have as many leads, even if you're uncertain and they'll be loyal customers? Thanks. Difficult to tell because I don't know your market, so I don't understand the context. My view is that there probably is only so many leads that you can manage at one time. In my world of business to business enterprise, the view was that you could only manage about 5 active things. The difficulty always as a salesperson is you're, I don't know if you've ever seen a circus act where they have a stick and then they put a plate on it and they basically spin plates. And then as what happens is that the plate starts to wobble. And if they don't start spinning the stick, the plate falls off. And in effect, what you're doing is that you're going around spinning as many plates as you can. You need to be putting time in your diary for prospecting. You need to be putting time in your diary for moving things down the funnel. And I find I do this. There's always stuff in my time where it says prospecting. It's the only way you can do it. It's a bit like revision for exams. You'll put it off and put it off and put it off, and then you won't do it. So difficult to understand the context. When you're starting the business, the first few clients that you've got to get are really important. They're really important for 2 things. One is they follow your belief system of what you want to do. That's, for me, was more important than the money. And the reason what you can happen is you can go and get clients. They offer you money and it distracts you from what you want to really do. And Adam Gray, my business partner, and I, we actually have walked away from business. We actually were asked to bid at SAP, and we walked away from it because we said, you're doing it wrong. And they said, well, that's the way we want to do it. I said, well, okay. Now, we could have gone in there and said, okay, and taken some money, but we didn't want to do that. And it's so important because that would have distracted us. I think we went into a client the next day and signed something up of what we wanted to do. And so it's not just about, when you're starting a business, it's not just about sales. It's about making sure that the deals that you're doing, it's probably the co-founders that are doing the business. The business that you're doing is the right business. And sometimes that may not be the most profitable or the one that generates you the most money. But you need to make the decision yourself. You are the owners and the leaders in that business in the first place. That one. Oh. Hey, thank you. Thanks. Any other questions?
Well, I guess we have answered all the questions. So let me ask one question from one of our registrants, which is, with so much noise in the way of digital or email marketing, what have you found works consistently?
So we don't use email marketing. The recent HubSpot report that came out, they're monitoring it, and it showed it has a 98% failure rate. Personally, that's not something that I want to do. I don't believe that interrupt marketing works anymore. I'm sure that there's people that are making it work, and I'm sure that a 2% people are justifying email marketing, but because they get the 2% return. Personally, I've just shown people how they can get 6 C-level meetings by posting content and taking 10 minutes to do something. That for me is a bigger return than all of the different type of interrupt marketing that's going on right now, advertising, cold calling, and email. And that's the fundamental change and transformation that's taking place in sales and marketing right now. Now, I understand that there may be people are getting a response, but the response you're getting is going down and 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 down. And at some point, you're going to have to decide when you're going to switch your budget, because other people are getting a response and it's going up and up and up. And what we're finding and what our clients are saying to us is that sales and marketing doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, so I hope your question got answered. And yes, I have also got to learn many things from you, Tim. So my next question is,
Yeah.
which one is the most important step in the sales funnel?
I think the most important step for me always is about qualification and qualifying in the opportunity. You can spend the worst, if you think about a sale, the worst place, where's the worst place you could be? Well, we know the best place, it's winning it. So where's the worst place? Coming last or coming second? And actually the worst place you can be is coming second in a deal, because you will have put an awful lot of time and effort into the deal and resource. Effort in terms of your own, you may actually be using resource across your business. And for me, walk away from stuff, and don't be afraid to do that. If it doesn't smell right, and if you don't, that's a gut reaction. If it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. If the people aren't, if you don't, there's all kinds of reasons why you'll lose business. Cultural fit, money. They know that the people they're buying from is their brother-in-law's company, and they're things that you may be out of your control. And sometimes you should actually walk away. And qualification is so important. And sometimes walking away is important.
Great. Yeah. Sometimes walking away is important. So, what do you think about the video messages? Which are they good for the connection method, for cold outreach?
The video messages are interesting. Actually, one of our clients just recently did an experiment with video messaging, and they got a very senior VP to spend some time creating some video messages, and they sent out 100, and they got 0 response. And the reason why we believe they got 0 response is because it's no different from a cold call or an email, which is that you're saying, buy my product because it's great. And unfortunately, you're just another salesperson. And the video connections, you're just adding to the noise. I'll get people pitching to me over LinkedIn every day. I get people pitching to me over email every day. And actually what it shows you is that actually organization has run out of ideas, and they're desperate. Unfortunately, a lot of salespeople don't know any difference. I mean, someone sent me an email yesterday, and she said, I actually even made you a video. It's like, did you? Didn't even notice it. Like, I'm a CEO. I'm really busy. I don't have time to watch your video. Why do you even think I have time to watch your video? I mean, she sent me this long email. Why would I even read it? I just went, I read delete. I didn't actually. I wrote back to her and said, why are you doing this? We connected on LinkedIn. You're far better than this. And I said, there's my book, read my book, and at least understand that there is there is a new way of actually working, which actually works with people rather than pushing them away.
Yeah. So let's take, so as we are short with the time, let's take a last question from one of our attendees live. Just you can check, Tim, you can just check in the questions tab only. Ben Tebi has asked a question. Why your sales strategies are built on not through advertising is because of the choice you made or because of the modern buyer behavior?
Um, nobody looks at advertising. Come on, we get the average person gets hit by 10,000 different messages every day. You know, you may have infinite amount of budget. You can go out and get Hollywood stars. You can fly the Hollywood stars to the Atlas Mountains. You can get David Bailey to take the photos. You can get the best copywriter in the world, get the best advertising company in the world. You can spend all the money as you can, and you just have an advert that's just the same as everybody else's. It's just in the noise. And what do we do as buyers? We just collate it and ignore it. And you've also got the problem is that in most territories now, 70% of people use ad blockers. Most people use between the age of 16 and 28, but 80% of people use ad blockers. Nobody looks at ads anymore. It just doesn't work. I mean, I've shown you on social how you can build relationships with people, how you can get C-level meetings by spending zero amount of cost, 10 minutes of your time. You don't need to do it anymore, and nobody's interested.
So I hope, Bentambi, I hope that I pronounced it right. I hope your question got answered. And lastly, let's take a question from Jimmy. And that's the last question for the day. Do you think that culture fits could be a problem in sales funnel if dealing internationally, or how can we face it?
Yeah, the answer to that, Jimmy, is yes. I used to have a job where I sold across Europe, Middle East, and Africa, and most definitely geographical and cultural changes have an impact on doing business. You know, India, cultural differences, China, you know, everywhere, you know, even America, they speak a different language to me. I'm just joking. I mean, you know, the thing that really brought it home to me, we were in Singapore, and we were going up an escalator, you know, in a shopping mall. And in London, if you just want to stand on the escalator and not go fast, you stand on the right-hand side, and the fast people go down on the left. Whereas on Singapore, if you want to go slowly, you stand on the left, and the fast people go on the right. So when I was in Singapore, I'd get in and stand on the right, and everyone would push me out the way. And I'm like, why are these people pushing me out the way? You're standing on the wrong side. And it's a great example of how, you know, cultural differences do make a big difference.
Great. So, Jimmy, I think your question got answered, and this was indeed a value-packed session. And this brings us to the end of our session. Although there is a lot more we could have discussed and touched upon, but as we are limited by time here, so we just have to end it here. I hope you guys love this session, and once again, thank you so much, Tim, for taking out your time and
Thank
being a
you.
part of this event. So, any last words?
No, thanks. It's been wonderful. Thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate it. And thanks for everybody for asking a question. I mean, it really makes a session when it becomes interactive, and it's so fantastic. Thank you very much. And thanks to Designhill for inviting me along.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tim. So, all right,
You're
guys,
welcome.
this is not where it ends. We have a lot more events lined up for you all in the coming days, and our next event is how to generate more leads and revenue using Facebook ads. So if you guys are interested and haven't registered yet, do check out our events page link in the chat section and just tap on it and you can just register there. To stay updated with all the events, just follow us on LinkedIn, just connect with us, and you can suggest our topics, new speakers, or whatever you want, which event you want to be held, and we can do this. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can just click on the bell icon and you will be notified with all the new recordings, events, everything is there. You can find it, learn it anytime, anywhere. And also, we have recently launched a DIY creative tool called Designhill Studio. Be it a designer or non-designer, everyone can create a beautiful design such as business collaterals, presentations, social media posts, banners, and much more. And that too within few minutes and all by themselves. So do check it out, and you can visit www.designhill.com/studio. So, on that note, I would like to say bye to everyone who has joined us here today. Thank you so much, Tim. Take care, guys. Stay safe.